I feel like it is an extreme sport to get your cut creases to line up. Hey loves, welcome back to the channel. My name is Taylor. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. So in today's video, we're just going to be glowing up with me. I've already done one eye off camera because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So without further ado, let's get started. First things first, I'm going to take my P. Louise base. This is the shade Rumor 5. I always use this. And if you all hear me sounding funny, it's because I have, I started my Invisalign treatment, and the Invisalign trays kind of give you a lisp. So I'm kind of lispy right now, but I do not have a lisp naturally. This is simply because of these Invisaligns. I'm going to be going into the Wahala palette, and I'm going to be just playing with these colors over here. Well, primarily this row, and I'm going to be using ASAP. So I've already done a video on this palette and my thoughts. You know that this is my second time using it. This is my second time using the palette just so I could play with some other colors in my review that I did, which feel free to check that out. I did do 2 different looks so that I can play with as many colors as possible, but there's so many other colors in this palette I didn't touch. So I'm probably going to use this palette a few more times on my channel. I'm not sure how this, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I don't even know if I 100% like this look that I have came up with. I'm trying to see it through because sometimes you end up actually liking the final result. Like, I'm just learning not to judge if a look is going to be fire just before I add like the lashes and everything like that. So I just tried to do something spicy with like the glitter detail. I really like this brown shade that I'm using. It almost seems like it conforms to like whatever kind of color story I'm going with. And so today's color story, we're kind of going with like this muted pink, like a mauve, and I feel like it's giving what it needs. So this look is going to be pretty simple with the exception of like the glitter and the liner. I am putting on a little bit of liner today. I don't typically do that, but I just felt like doing something special for today's video. So I am going to just now clean up my crease with clean up my cut crease with the Simple Micellar Water. It is an extreme sport to get your cut creases to line up. I'm really excited because I get to take pictures with natural lighting today. I feel like every time I film is super late and I never get a chance to take pictures with natural light, and I think natural lighting is like the best kind of lighting to take your pictures in. And I typically take pictures in studio light, like what I'm using right now. And even though like it does what it needs to do, like it's a good investment because sometimes you don't have time to film. Like sometimes your only time to film is like at night or in the evening time when the sun is going down. And now with daylight savings time, it's like your only best bet if you want to catch freaking natural sunlight is to most definitely film like when you first get up. You look so perfect standing there in my American Apparel underwear, and I know now that I'm so down. So now I'm going to take my NYX Epic Ink liner, and I'm not going to do a wing necessarily, but I've been seeing this trend on Instagram where you draw out your wing and you kind of like do like an upward motion, and I like the way that looks. Something about it just kind of looks so sophisticated. So that's what we're going to do in today's video. So I was trying to make it as thick as possible so that it's still visible, like even once I add the glitter on top and I add on my lashes. Speaking of glitter, I'm going to go in with these 2 glitters. I got these off of Amazon. This is a chunky glitter and a more fine glitter. This eyeshadow look really reminds me of the Destiny's Child Lose My Breath video. Like, remember it was like the hood Destiny's Child versus like the classy Destiny's Child. I mean, this look reminds me of the classy side of the Lose My Breath video. You know, when they have like the maroon suits with the pink shirts, and girl. So we're going to start off by priming, and I'm going to take my all-time favorite primers. This is the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, the e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer. I like the texture of this, and I've heard that this primer is a duplicate for the Tatcha Silk Canvas. Is that what it is? I'm probably getting it wrong because I've never used it. And I like to use this because it actually does kind of like blur out my pores. I have very textured skin around the nose, and I just like to, it gives me like a smooth base to work with because we are going in with more of a luminous foundation. I'm not a big mattifying girl because matte is really uncomfortable. And it's so funny because when I first started doing my makeup in high school, I was like, I need matte because I have oily skin, and I did, but that's because, you know, I didn't know much about skincare and like using moisturizer. Like I did not moisturize my face at all. I just woke up, washed my face, and put on makeup. And that is what a lot of people do. And now that I'm older, now that I'm an adult and I can actually afford skincare, I don't know, now I just kind of, now I see the difference in my skin, and now I see like how my skin performs. Like my skin was just thirsty. She just wanted some water, and I was depriving her because I didn't know anything about that. Typically stay away from mattifying foundations. Now, one thing I do like about mattifying foundations though is that they can be very full coverage, very full coverage. So it's like I don't completely cut them out. Like I do use my Juvia's Place foundation a lot, and that one is super full coverage. Like if anybody ever asks me for like a recommendation, I always recommend that one because I'm like, well, depending on their skin type, I would definitely recommend the Juvia's Place foundation because it's super full coverage. To be taking the ABH foundation, and this one is in the shade 500C. This one is my all-time favorite foundation. When I first got it, I was convinced that this shade was too dark for me, but it actually blends in kind of good. Like this is probably one of the best matching foundations I have in my collection right now. And I feel like this foundation kind of exposed to me that I'm not a warm shade. I am indeed more neutral. And I have a bunch of warm undertone foundations in my collection because that's what I thought I was, that's what I was used to seeing. And all it takes is one foundation to show you that you actually are making yourself look a lot darker. And I understand that we as like a black makeup community tend to do that anyhow, because it's better to look a little darker than to look light, with, you know, us not necessarily having the representation that we need in a lot of foundations. I mean, now these days there is a lot more representation. There's a lot more black owned brands who are representing and increasing the shades that we have now. Because before it was just sad, it was pathetic. I like remember those days like it was yesterday, where we were forced to either wear a super dark foundation or a foundation that was just super red and muddy because there was nobody on these makeup teams that really understood dark skin. I feel like back then inclusion and diversity and inclusion was not a thing in these makeup rooms, and I feel like now we definitely have more of that, or at least, you know, they're not tone deaf to what's happening, like the conversation. And like now that's like the #1 critique for a lot of people is the shade range. There's influencers that use their platform to really like speak out about these things, because it was a struggle for a long time. I never even like messed with foundation until I got to college in my freshman year, because I was so insecure about the shade selection, and I was scared because I just, you know, heard all these horror stories. And like sometimes I also feel like catering to darker people is a marketing tactic for a lot of people, especially a lot of, you know, white owned brands. It's like, do you really care about making your products inclusive? Because those same brands will come out with you know, this super inclusive and diverse foundation shade, or, you know, skin product shade, and then y'all, they will release this palette that has all these neutral shades that are not going to show up unless, of course, you put it on your lid. But like, girl, there's no depth to this. How could I use this? So okay, so now I'm going to take my concealers and my contour cream. This is the Huda Beauty Tantour in the shade 10, and then I'm taking my e.l.f. and my Juvia's Place concealer. This is the hydrating concealer in the shade Deep Cinnamon, Juvia's Place concealer in the shade 10. I feel like you can never, concealer is my all-time favorite makeup product. Like, I feel like when I wear concealer, I am literally, this is like integral for the glow up. If you don't have any concealer, and you better get a good concealer, like I don't know, I'm always down to try different concealers, and this e.l.f. concealer is most definitely my favorite. It's up there with the Born This Way multi-sculpting concealer by Too Faced. Like, everyone loves that one because it's so full coverage and it really transforms your makeup. This one is definitely runner up. You don't get as much as you get in the Too Faced, because I'm still not done with that one, and I've had that for some time, and I probably should get a new one because of its shelf life. But y'all, like, it's worth the investment. So if you think it's a little pricey, look how long you're gonna have it. Okay, so I couldn't talk while blending out my contour. I just feel like it's not possible with the different angles that I have to turn, but I can, I think, talk through me doing this part. So I'm gonna first, before I blend out my concealer, I'm the Continuous Misting Spray by Morphe. I just feel like when you let your concealer sit for a while, sometimes it's a little bit hard to move, but this should help things blend smoothly. I feel like you can only contour when you have time. Like, if you don't have time, then you can most definitely just skip contouring and go straight to bronzing. For the longest, like in some of my older videos, like I did not bronze I did not contour at all. All I did was bronze because I didn't have time to like sit there, and I just felt like bronzing is the way to go because it just gives your face that definition that it needs without you like going through multiple steps. But I personally like the way that contour and bronzer on. I like the combination of contour and bronzing. I feel like it gives me that definition that I need. I'm going to be taking my Fenty Beauty Translucent Pro Filter Setting Powder. I know some people like to layer their concealers, but I personally like the idea, and I love the way my concealer looks when I actually just blend them in together. It kind of creates the perfect shade. I'm trying out this Glam Bronze. I've used this one before, but not in a video. This is the Morphe Glamour Bronze. It's in the shade Leader. I got their darkest shade because I don't know if there was anything darker online, but this is the darkest one they had in my Ulta. And so, I mean, I used it, and I don't know. I'm gonna get a second opinion now. I'm gonna just go back to the face. The eyes are good for now. Don't you just love what an under shadow can do? So I'm gonna go into my Crayon Case Blush Binder, and I'm gonna see what I should go with. I don't know, a little bit of, maybe a mixture of these two, because I actually really like the way that orange blush looks on me. So in the name of Crayon Case, I'm gonna be taking their Angulola highlighter powder. I actually really like this powder, and I feel like there's not many highlighter products that I feel like stand out to me. This gives me more of a rose gold vibe. And so I'm going to be using Juvia's Place products for the lipstick. I'm going to be taking their Love Moment and Mademoiselle, which is like a pink and a nude shade. I'm going to be taking their lip gloss, and this is just actually this is more so of an eyeliner, but this is the Maybelline Tattoo Studio Gel Liner. And I think I love this as a liner, because a lip liner rather, because it's so pigmented. I haven't used this in such a long time, but I'm going to take the Morphe Luminous Setting Spray and just complete the look. So this is a completed look. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I really try to do something different with this hair. I try to put flips in my little bob wig, my little bob bang wig, but it's really giving me Sunshine Anderson. Heard it all before. I threw on like this little dress that I'm about to actually change out of. I finished filming this video, but yes, I hope that you all enjoyed this glow up with me, and if you did, then give it a thumbs up. Feel free to comment, subscribe, and don't forget to follow me on the socials at Taylor Rain. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you, and stay beautiful.